So let's talk about grocery shopping. This is a super simple topic, but I bet you many of you are not leveraging the power of online grocery shopping delivery. So I'm going to sell you on why you should be doing those things if you are not already, and when you might want to do in-person shopping. I personally use a mix of both, and I find that kind of hits both goals, and I'll explain more what I mean by that. But a lot of women I hear are like feel guilty about online grocery shopping. Like, oh my gosh, no, no, no. We are going to put that to rest. So let's talk about grocery shopping, your different options. And this is going to be based on where I shop, which is HEB. So if you are not in Texas, that's not going to sound familiar. And the same features may not apply, but it should still get the point across. So here are the different options you have for grocery shopping. In a nutshell, you have three options. You have going in person, you have ordering online and picking it up, also known as curbside, and then you have online ordering and delivering it to your house, which could be a lot of different companies. The one I use is Shipt, but I know different grocery stores like Whole Foods has like that Amazon delivery. Obviously, lots of different options there. So three different options and when you want to be using each one. So first things first, if you are really busy and you find yourself struggling to meal plan and meal prep in general, then you need to be doing online grocery shopping. This is one thing that could save you a solid hour, hour and a half. I don't know how long your grocery shopping takes. I kind of got it down to a science, but a solid, even like if I could go super fast and I'm just like, I get there in the morning and no one's there and I just like run through and I have my whole route planned. And I lived like 5 minutes from the grocery store at this time. It's still, I could not get out earlier than like 45 minutes, right? So that's like minimum. I'd say 45 minutes, like up to like an hour and a half, who knows, 2 hours maybe, depending on how far you are from the grocery store. So that is valuable, valuable time. And if you are someone who's like trying to find time just to make it to the grocery store, think about what you could do in that hour. In that hour or hour and a half, instead of doing the actual grocery shopping, you could be prepping your veggies. You could be marinating your meat. You could be like getting some recipes. You could be doing so much towards your meal prep for the week instead of doing that grocery shopping that anyone could be doing for you. So I'm so passionate about this. Like I'm trying not to like rant on it too much. The other thing I want you to think about if you're on the fence about grocery shopping online is how much your time is worth. So if you've never done this exercise, it's a pretty easy exercise. So you look at how much money you make on average over a year. Obviously, it's different if you're self-employed versus salary, but look at how much money you make. And you might already know this number, but I find a lot of people, even salaried workers, don't know how much they make hourly, just because you get paid, a salary or, once a month or twice a month. So you take how many weeks you work in the year. So take off how many weeks you have vacation. So 2, 3, 4. And then, so now we have like 50 weeks, let's say, and then divide it by how many hours, or turn that into hours, and then turn that into how many hours you are working a day. You can follow the math. It's not that hard. So figure out what your hourly rate is. And if your hourly rate is less than the amount or more than the amount of the extra expenses for grocery shopping, then that's another reason. Because imagine what if you could do an extra hour of work instead. And again, this might be different if you're on salary, but if you could squeeze out an extra hour of work, if you could get paid more, then that time is definitely worth it. You should not be doing those types of roles. So those are just two reasons to do online grocery ordering. Online grocery ordering literally takes you 10, 15 minutes. If you have your list ready, I would just go boom, 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 knock it out, online order, done. I would highly recommend that. And again, you could also do a little bit of a hybrid approach. I'll tell you about why you may want to go in person. But if you're on the fence about outsourcing your grocery shopping, I just want to push you over the fence because there's no reason that you should be questioning that. If it could save you an hour to an hour and a half, what could you be doing with that time that is more valuable? And when I break down the numbers, you're going to see it doesn't really cost that much. If you're like, oh my gosh, did they upcharge and the extra fees and blah, 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 it really doesn't come out to that much. I've done the math. So if I haven't already convinced you, don't worry. I will hopefully get there by the end of the video. I mean, some of you might already be pros at online shopping. I remember I met with a lady, I was doing some counseling with her, and we were talking about her grocery shopping. She's like, I haven't stepped in a grocery store in years. And I was like, okay, that's a little extreme, but you do you. I love it. So when might you want to consider doing more in person? So I was also, very conscious of my grocery budget. I was always trying to keep it under a certain number. So I was always, again, analyzing how much does it cost to online order? How much does it cost to go in person? And when I go in person, I definitely find better deals. So that is the kicker. So you may want to do a little hybrid. So sometimes you might want to go and kind of stock up on some stuff. So the things you could find, I would go first thing when they opened on Sunday morning. And this might be true other mornings, but I always went on Sundays. So I know the sales were there. So I would go first thing in the morning to HEB again, whenever they open, like, I think it's like 7, and I'd be there by 7:30 on a Sunday. Yes, I am waking up early on a Sunday, but the deals are really good. So that you see those yellow stickers, the 50% off stickers, maybe you've seen those before, and those will be on things that are going to expire soon, which isn't bad. You just need to eat them sooner. So you're going to see it on things, mainly your produce and your meat. Now, here's where you want to really hone in. You want to go for that meat. So this is what I would do. I would make a beeline as soon as I got in the store, and I'd run to the meat first and see what they had on sale. Because guess what? You can freeze the meat. I would look for anytime I found like chicken breast on sale. Oh my gosh, ground beef, like anything like that was just a really common meat that I could use a lot. That is when I would just like stock up and freeze them. Yeah, so you can get meats at so I actually think the meats are more like 25% off, but if you're buying in bulk, if you buy, several pounds of chicken breasts, several pounds of ground beef, I saw lots of pork on sale. I even saw sausages and different it was always a mix. But that could save you a decent amount of money. I mean, think about it. Your meats are probably your biggest expense on your grocery budget. So if you can get those 25% off, that makes a pretty big deal. So, so after I'd go to the meats, I'd come back to the front and do the produce. And usually they would have pre-made salads on sale and the salad mixes. So I would stock up on those, obviously use them right away. I'm not going to freeze those. But yeah, I would always run and kind of go in that direction and pick up everything I can. And again, and maybe I would do this like every other week. And then the rest of the time I was just doing online grocery shopping. So what does that come out to? So I used Shipt. So 2 things with Shipt. They have an online yearly fee just for the membership. And then they have the actual fees of the products. So the membership, I think, is like $100 a year. I bought it on Black Friday. Guys, I'm pretty thrifty if you aren't catching on. I love a good deal. So I bought it on Black Friday. So if you're near Black Friday in that vicinity, in that time frame, you might want to consider waiting. If you're not close, don't worry about it. I think it was like half off or buy one, get one for a friend, and I split it. Also, you can split Shipt with other people. So even if it's $100, you can split it with your neighbor and you can put as many addresses as you want in. So our whole family has like 3 different locations, New York, we were Waco, we were all over, and we had one account. So it really is not that expensive when you start splitting it with people. I know friends and families that have all split it together. Again, it's really easy. Just don't use each other's credit card and stuff. So $100 a year, maybe less. And then they upcharge on the prices. So they'll upcharge on each individual item. And then the items themselves tend to be priced a little higher. So what it all comes out to, because they're upcharged 3%, and you're like, oh, 3%, that's not bad. But then when it comes out, it actually is a little bit more. So from my calculations, it comes out to about 5 to 10% more on your grocery bill. So I would just remember this. I'd say 10% just to be safe. So I'd remember this. If I'm doing a $50 grocery shop, it's $5 extra. That's really not a big deal. And the other thing you have to think about is, would I have bought something for $5 if I had gone in person that I wasn't planning to get originally? The beauty of online shopping is you're not distracted. You're not picking up things that you weren't, thinking about. You're not tempted by some sale. So that in itself probably justifies the cost. Now, if you're doing higher grocery bills, 100, 200, 300, then obviously it does add up. But again, you have to think about your time. You have to think about, would you be buying other things that you weren't originally going to buy? How much, time is your time worth in general, all of these things. So I think it really does pay for itself. But again, I also balanced it. I wasn't doing it every time. I'd balance it and go in person and get some really sweet deals sometimes too. And again, that kind of balanced out my grocery bill. So that's what I did and I recommend. So if you are on the fence about online shopping, It is not as expensive as it sounds. Again, for $100 grocery bill, it's an extra $10. You might have bought $10 worth of stuff just by extra stuff, just by going there anyways. So do not feel guilty. Also, if you're like really guilt tripping yourself, where could you cut out $10? Could you spend, buy one less Starbucks drink during the week? Like, it saves you so much time that you could be doing other things with. 1 hour you could get like a workout in. You could spend that time you sleeping. Like, oh my gosh, the list goes on and on. Where could you cut back $5 or $10 and make that expense worth it to you? I know we're very rational people and we want to think about like, well, can I justify this cost? So figure out how you can rationalize that $5 or $10, whatever it is, and go do it. Save yourself the time. Do not feel guilty at all. And again, maybe a mix makes you feel a little better, but I highly recommend, if you are not doing online shopping yet, you need to do it. You need to make time for yourself. This is an easy way. Don't feel guilty.